Alright guys, welcome back. We have a new festival. We have the Legend Anthology Acceleration. They are adding synchro monsters to this, which is kind of cool. So first things first, we can go over the loner decks. We have three loner decks. We have Harpies, Heroes, and we have TGs, which are all legitimate choices. Loner decks, generally speaking, are actually quite good, and you can use the loner decks and have tons of fun with them. The power ceiling of the entire event is really low, so you can have a ton of fun with the loner decks. But these are the loner decks. Let me show you the decks I've created. But before we get there, would you like to make your Master Duel experience a whole lot better?
Are you ready to take your Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel Play experience to a new level? The Untapped GG Companion is here for you. Use the deck tracker to know exactly what cards you have in your deck, and to go over any cards you aren't familiar with yet by hovering over them. It instantly updates when you draw a card, and automatically hides if you check your extra deck or graveyard. This is the perfect tool to help you master a new deck. The Untapped GG Companion also lets you import decks directly into the game in seconds. Copy any YDK or YDKE deck string, create a new deck in game, click the Start Auto Import button, and let us take the wheel. Once the duel is over, check your win rate on your personal stats page. Brag among your friends and share your decks so they can import them into the game too. Start your path to master today by downloading the Untapped GG Companion at ygom.untapped.gg.
Alright, so the first deck we've got here is, unsurprisingly, Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is a very good deck, and you also get you get basically the structure deck just came out. Of course, you know, this deck would be quite good in this event right now because the structure deck just came out. The structure deck is very comprehensive. It gives you pretty much everything you need other than some of the link monsters, not the link monsters, outside of some of the extra deck cards. You pretty much have everything you need. You can play it whatever way you want. You can play it with Chaos Max. You can play it with Blue Eyes, just pure. Pure Blue Eyes is actually quite strong. Again, there's no Ash Blossom. There's no Maxi. You're not getting hand trapped. You don't have to worry about that. So what's awesome about it is you can play big monsters like this and not have to worry about bricking and not have to worry about getting ashed, because the tough thing with Blue Eyes is that when you get ashed, you typically will lose because, you know, you discard one card and then you get rid of the trade-in and then you try to draw two cards and your opponent ashes it. It's usually pretty bad, but since there's no ash, there's no maxi, there's nothing like that. This deck is actually very, very good. It can put huge monsters on the board, and most importantly, it has a really, really strong monster that's now essentially free because of the structure deck. It's Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. And that is this card right here. This card is absolutely insane. It recurs itself every single turn, essentially. It recurs itself, it bounces a card, it protects other cards from being destroyed. It's just a really, really strong card. And as long as you have that card in rotation, you can pretty much win any game against any deck in this fest. Next up, we've got Dark Magician. Dark Magician is a good deck in this festival, but it's a lot more pure, and it's a lot more hindered by being pure than Blue Eyes is. So Dark Magician, unfortunately, like I said, it does get hindered more from being pure, just because it usually likes to mix itself with Bystials, or at least, you know, to some degree, some kind of a rank 7 engine or something. But it is very, very, very pure. So, yeah, even like Artemis the Moon Maiden, which is typically a very important card in Dark Magician, that card is, for example, it's banned in this event, and that card is quite important in Dark Magician generally. So you have to play like the classic Dark Magician. You have to pretty much play either the Fusion package or the Ritual package. That's the only real way to play Dark Magician, just because you have yeah, like I said, you need the Fusion package or Ritual package because you don't have the Artemis, you don't have a lot of the really good links, but you do have Eye of Timaeus, which you can finally play, and then you have an entire library of monsters that you can go into, and it's actually, again, quite good. You can definitely switch out some of these ratios and play a even more competitive version just by using some of the cards that haven't been hit, but a lot of the hand traps have been hit. So you have to essentially play very, very pure, but it's still a very strong deck. All right, next up, we've got one of the MVPs of the festivals. It is Suship. Suship is a crazy deck because it seems like they never hit it. Every single festival, it somehow slides by. It doesn't matter what the festival is, somehow Suship is legal. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I don't even remember the last festival where Suship was not a fully legal deck. It is an outrageously strong deck because it can go essentially into the rank 4 or the rank 5 package at will, essentially. So against a lot of decks, you can do very well. You can play a lot of board breakers and then just go second and attack for game. You get a lot of advantage off of summoning different monsters, off of summoning the various Exceed monsters, because every one of them essentially, as long as you use Shari, you can draw a card for free, which is really cool. And then you have stuff like Piercing the Darkness to help you get over the bigger monsters that the Exceed monsters perhaps can't get over. So, and this card is actually another card, just to mention real quick. This card is like an MVP of the entire event. There's so many decks that use normal monsters, and this card is actually really strong just in the entire event in general, because if a normal monster battles, or if a monster that uses a normal monster as material battles, you can essentially gain attack equal to your opponent's monster, so your normal monster can attack over pretty much anything in the game, or your monster made with a normal monster. It can even be a ritual made with a normal monster. It can pretty much get over any monster in the game. This card is really strong in this event. Pretty much if you're using normal monsters for any reason, you should definitely play that card. Next up, we've got Magikey. This is another deck that slipped through. It slips through almost every event also, just because, again, Konami's not really looking at it, so it ends up slipping through. Same thing with the Suships. You can play some of the Tenyis to get free special summons, but basically this is another kind of rank 4 deck, but it can do more than just rank 4s, because it can ritual summon, it can do a lot of things. Yeah, it can ritual summon, it can go second, it can go first, it can fusion summon, which is really cool. It can pretty much do every summoning mechanic in the game, and another reason why this is really good is because you can actually complete all of your dailies with just one game, and it has a really strong counter trap. Like, nothing about this deck has gotten hit in any way. You can definitely cut down some of these URs in the extra deck and play them at 1. Don't play all of them, just play more rank 4s and you're good to go. You don't have to play 3 of this, you don't have to play 3 of this, like 1 of this and 1 of this, and this deck is pretty much ready to go. Like, it's pretty much a budget deck. You literally just need to craft 1 of this, 1 of this, you have the entire deck. You don't need anything else, and you have this deck to play in other instances, so you can play it outside of this festival. You can go play it in the regular ladder. It's not like the most competitive deck in the world, but I am almost certain that it's going to be fully usable in any other festival going forward, as long as it's not like a Link festival. Okay, then it won't be usable, but pretty much any other festival, this deck is going to be usable. So it's kind of a cool deck to pick up and learn, and like I said, it goes through every summoning mechanic pretty much other than Link, which is great for completing dailies, because you'll complete everything. It does everything. It activates spells, it activates traps, it summons everything, it special summons, it normal summons, and it uses all of your extra decks. So just from that, you can complete 9 different missions. Not 9, because one of them is technically story mode, but you can complete 8 different missions in a single day, which is like crazy, off of like 1 duel sometimes. Yeah, really awesome deck for this event. Next is Kozmos. This is another really cool deck. This is not a normal monster deck, but it's a cool deck. So we don't have a huge extra deck. You don't actually need an extra deck. I swear to you, when you play Kozmos, the last time whenever I play Kozmos, I know it seems like I don't have any of these cards. This is actually my other account. This is my Masochist account. But on my regular account, I do have these decks. This deck almost never use the extra deck. I kid you not, you almost never use the extra deck. The gimmick with this deck is that all of their big monsters, it's all based on Star Wars / Wizard of Oz, which is already a really cool theme. But on top of that, all of the little monsters essentially special summon all of the big monsters here. And the big monsters are a bunch of ships, like in Star Wars, and the little monsters are just a bunch of, things from either the Star Wars universe or kind of like the Wizard of Oz, like I said before. You have the Farm Girl, you have like the Wicked Witch and stuff like that. But essentially, you get to special summon these big monsters. The big monsters can't be targeted. They all float. They can banish themselves, and then you can return them to the field with Storm Dragon's Return, which is a really cool card. But the deck has a very interesting playstyle. They can't be targeted, and it can absolutely body a bunch of decks in this event because it is completely and totally unhit. The only UR you need is Farm Girl. That's it. Everything else, you don't even need Eclipser. You really don't. I swear to you, you don't even really go into this as often as you think. The majority of the time, you're going into Dark Destroyer. You mostly just, the only thing you really need is Farm Girl, which is 3 URs. And I always say this, the events are a great opportunity to do 2 things. Learn a new deck, and in addition to learn a new deck, and have fun, of course. And then the third reason that's great about the festivals is that it allows you to acquire a bunch of gems, and essentially pretty much you can purchase a brand new deck with just playing like a little bit of the festival. This might be the deck that you want to play, and it's only 3 URs, so you might even be able to get multiple decks and not just this one. So yeah, this one is actually quite fun. Alright, the last deck I'm going to be showing you guys today is DDDS. DDDS is a very highly skilled deck. If you're not a super wise person, I maybe would stay away from this one. But this is a deck that only has one hit. It's DD Griffin. Actually, there's one other card that got hit, but it's a little bit of a floodgatey card, so I can understand completely why it got hit. I forget its name, but there's another Dark Contract card that's banned completely, but it's banned because it's a little bit like... It actually prevents your opponent from playing, so I can understand why they hit it. It's not just like a card that's needed for the deck. It's more so like a card. It's like a card that helps you prevent your opponent from playing, rather than like, you know, rather than making play. So it's not an extender. It's more of like an end board to stop your opponent from playing. It's not super necessary, but the main core of the deck is very much intact. You can play it. This is probably one of the best decks if you know how to play it. You can clean up this event easily. And like I said, there's not as many staples available because a lot of hand traps are hit, which is actually good for you, because things like, for example, Perry Ree's map, this isn't getting ashed. This is resolving. You don't have to worry about losing life. It's resolving. All of your contracts, they're resolving. Your fusions, you're not getting bestialed. Things are resolving. You don't have to worry about it. All of your things are resolved. So yes, this is at 1, but who cares? Because you're going to be able to do your combo. There's no Maxi. There's no Ash Blossom. You are going to be able to combo off. You don't have to stress about it. So you will be able to do everything. And cards like this, DDD King Deus Machinax, is legal, which is crazy. This card's legal and it's really good. Yeah, this card's bananas. But yeah, this deck is essentially at full power. This is the last deck I have to show you guys, but just some honorable mentions I can think of. Harpies is a good deck, solid deck that you can play. There's probably other, I think Libromancers isn't really that hit. Some of the Synchro decks that are good are like TGs. The Synchrons kind of got hit a little bit too rough, but I'm sure you can probably figure out a build. Now, if you guys have any other decks that I missed, because I know I have to have missed decks because there's so many possibilities here, please put them down in the comment section down below, and you guys can obviously discuss them and get some ideas out of the comment section, because there's always you guys always have really smart suggestions. Put them down in the comment section, and thank you for watching. La, 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 la.